Have you ever wondered why American companies are increasingly choosing Canadian ports instead of their own? Why is the Port of Vancouver seeing record traffic from US exports? And what does it mean when even Canadian pension funds start pulling billions of dollars out of the United States? Stick around, because today we are diving deep into one of the biggest shifts quietly reshaping North American trade and business. And trust me, you don't want to miss how this could impact the future of US-Canada relations, your investments, and even the price of goods at your local store. Picture this. Historically, American exporters relied heavily on their own domestic ports, Los Angeles, Long Beach, New York, Seattle, to send goods overseas. But in recent years, a fascinating trend has accelerated. More and more US companies are turning to Canadian ports and infrastructure to move their products abroad, particularly toward the booming Asian markets. It's not just a niche strategy anymore. It's becoming a core part of corporate logistics planning. But why? The Port of Vancouver plays a central role here. As Canada's largest and busiest port, its strategic location on the Pacific coast and world-class infrastructure make it an indispensable gateway for trans-Pacific trade. In 2023 alone, Vancouver handled a record-breaking 150.4 million metric tons of cargo, a staggering number that truly highlights the port's massive capacity and growing importance. US exporters of agricultural products, energy commodities, and manufactured goods now routinely funnel their shipments through Vancouver because it's faster, cheaper, and frankly, a whole lot more reliable than some congested American alternatives. And it's not just Vancouver. Ever heard of Prince Rupert? If you haven't, you're about to. Located further north along British Columbia's rugged coastline, the Port of Prince Rupert boasts the shortest land-sea route between North America and Asia. For US companies looking to slash delivery times, it's an absolute game-changer. With its deepwater harbor, excellent rail connectivity into the US Midwest, and world-class logistics efficiency, Prince Rupert is quickly becoming the go-to choice for shippers eager to bypass the chaos of US West Coast ports. Another critical piece of this puzzle is the Roberts Bank Superport near Delta, British Columbia. Home to Westshore Terminals, it's the single busiest coal export terminal in North America. For American coal producers, especially those in the Powder River Basin, Roberts Bank offers a crucial lifeline to reach Asian buyers. And here's the kicker. By routing their coal through Canadian facilities, American companies can sidestep some of the strict environmental restrictions that have clamped down on coal exports from US West Coast ports. Talk about finding a creative workaround. But what's really fueling this shift? Several important factors are at play. First and foremost, congestion, or rather, the lack of it. Compared to the gridlock at American ports like Los Angeles, Long Beach, and New York, Canadian ports are a breath of fresh air. Faster vessel turnaround times, more predictable shipping schedules, fewer labor disputes. These advantages add up quickly when you're managing just-in-time inventory systems or tight global supply chains. In today's world, where even a few days of delay can cost companies millions, predictability isn't just nice to have. It's absolutely critical. Canada's massive infrastructure investments over the past decade have also made a huge difference. Initiatives like the National Trade Corridors Fund, combined with private sector spending, have modernized Canadian ports to a level that rivals or exceeds their American counterparts. We are talking multi-billion-dollar upgrades. Expanded container terminals, new berths, automated cranes, smart yard systems, enhanced customs preclearance. You name it. Prince Rupert's Fairview Terminal has been massively expanded, integrating rail-mounted gantry cranes and cutting-edge tracking systems. Vancouver's Roberts Bank Terminal 2 project is another mega-development designed to meet surging global demand. Supporting all of this is Canada's highly efficient and well-integrated rail network, primarily through Canadian National Railway and Canadian Pacific Kansas City, or CPKC. These rail giants operate seamless cross-border networks linking major U.S. industrial and agricultural centers directly to Canadian ports. From Chicago to Memphis to New Orleans, American goods can now travel north with minimal hassle and maximum speed. And thanks to innovations like precision scheduled railroading, these shipments are more reliable than ever before, with reduced dwell times and tighter delivery windows. This integration means that even shippers far from any coastline, think Iowa, Ohio, or even Texas, can now competitively route their products through Canadian ports to reach global markets. The advantages are so compelling that many companies have made Canadian export routing a permanent feature of their logistics strategies. Now, all of this would be fascinating enough on its own. But there's another layer that's adding even more drama: politics. Trade tensions between the US and Canada have escalated sharply, particularly under the renewed Trump administration. In response to US tariffs on Canadian products like aluminum, steel, and softwood lumber, Canada has been exploring countermeasures. And guess what? The very Canadian ports that American companies rely on are now being seen as powerful bargaining chips. Premier David Eby of British Columbia, for instance, has proposed imposing new taxes on American thermal coal exported through BC ports like Roberts Bank. His argument is straightforward: why should American coal enjoy a free ride through Canada when Canadian coal producers have to pay carbon taxes? Environmental groups like Dogwood BC have long pushed for exactly this kind of action, citing the health and environmental risks associated with coal dust and pollution. But the proposal isn't just about environmentalism. It's also about strategic leverage. By taxing US coal exports, British Columbia could send a strong message to Washington, signaling that Canadian infrastructure won't be used as a loophole for American industries seeking to bypass their own regulatory or trade restrictions. The idea has gained traction politically, with support not just from the ruling party, but also from opposition leaders like John Rustard of the British Columbia Conservative Party. Rustard even suggested that revenue from the tax could be held in trust and used as a tool in broader trade negotiations, particularly the never-ending softwood lumber dispute that's dogged US-Canada relations for decades. And it doesn't stop there. In a bold move, British Columbia passed the Economic Stabilization Tariff Response Act, granting the provincial government sweeping powers to retaliate against US economic actions. Under this act, British Columbia can impose tolls on non-Canadian trucks using BC highways, especially American trucks heading to Alaska. It also directs government procurement agencies to prioritize Canadian suppliers and streamline interprovincial trade to bolster internal economic resilience. Premier David Eby made it clear, this is about protecting British Columbian jobs, industries, and communities from the fallout of US protectionism. It's a strong reminder that trade wars aren't fought only with tariffs. They are fought with supply chains, logistics, infrastructure, and even tourism. Speaking of tourism, the escalating tensions have already had a chilling effect. Airbnb reported a 12% drop in bookings from Canadians traveling to the United States. Road travel across the border fell by a whopping 25%. Air travel bookings for the crucial April-September period plunged over 70%. The projected economic loss to the US economy from this tourism collapse alone could reach as high as $9 billion in 2025. That's not pocket change, and it's only one piece of the much bigger economic puzzle unraveling between these two historically close allies. Meanwhile, on the ground, the impact of Canadian port infrastructure on US export businesses is profound. Take coal exports, for example. With environmental regulations choking coal shipment options in Oregon, Washington, and California, U.S. coal producers have turned to British Columbia. In 2023, BC exported over 5.4 million metric tons of coal through Trigon terminals alone, a 28% increase from the previous year. About two-thirds of coal moving through Vancouver originates from American mines. The West Shore terminals at Roberts Bank, the busiest coal export facility in North America, shipped nearly 28 million tons of coal last year, with Japan and South Korea as the top buyers. And the numbers are only growing. The fixed-rate revenue model at West Shore, $13.76 per ton in 2024, ensures a stable cash flow, encouraging further investment in port capacity. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Despite global efforts to transition away from fossil fuels, demand for thermal coal in Asian economies remains strong. Japan, South Korea, India, they are still heavily reliant on coal to power their industries. That demand won't disappear overnight. Which means Canadian ports will continue playing a critical role for American exporters, whether Washington likes it or not. Yet, with calls to tax US thermal coal exports growing louder in Canada, and with major Canadian investors pulling back from US assets, it's clear that tensions aren't going away. They are only deepening. And that raises a crucial question. How sustainable is the current relationship between the United States and Canada if trust continues to erode? If Canadian ports start imposing taxes on American goods, if Canadian investors continue fleeing US markets. If border tourism collapses further, we could be looking at a fundamental reshaping of the North American economic landscape, a shift that could take decades to reverse. What do you think? Are we witnessing a temporary dispute, or the beginning of a long-term decoupling between two of the world's closest allies? And more importantly, who really stands to lose the most? If you found this breakdown eye-opening, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and leave a comment below sharing your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned, because the next chapter in this story might just be even more surprising than anyone expects.